Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Chaosuchi, and I'm joined by SVNBirch, or also known as Josh, if he wants to say hello.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And sorry it's been a while since I've uploaded. I was ill for a bit, and then obviously, like, a bunch of new stuff came out, and I've just been kind of busy. And then obviously, there's like so many reveals coming out every day, so I just felt like it's better to do kind of what we're going to do now. And we're just going to do like a set review of just the legendaries of the set so far. And I think it's really important to do this because not all the legendaries are good, and like the same thing with set one, right? Like not all the legendaries are playable, and like card prices, especially with how much I feel like this set especially is getting scalped. I don't want anyone who's watching to be able, like, to get ripped off, and also I want you to know which ones are going to be like kind of like the Rapunzel of this set, if you get what I mean. Um, yeah, so thank you for tuning in, and it's a very exciting week to go over this stuff because it's Rise of the FloodBorn's out this Friday, which is kind of crazy. Uh, but yeah, we'll jump right in, right? The first card we'll go over is Mufasa. He's 5 cost, inkable, free, has 2 lore pips on the side. He has the ability The Sun Will Set. When this character is banished, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card, you may play that character card for free, and they enter play exerted. Otherwise, put it back on top of your deck. So, just one small detail I just want to quickly go over as well. He is a king character, so he does get support by anything that supports king characters. Like, I think there is a character that boosts kings, princes, princesses, etc. That's in this set, so technically he would be supported by that. So Josh, what do you think of this card? And basically what we're going to do is, well, we're going to give cards scores of 1 to 5, in between 1 and 5, using decimal points as well, just because to make it easier. And then yeah, we'll both give our own unique score on this card. So yeah, Josh, what do you think?
I like it. It's a bit of spice. I don't think it's too overpowered. I mean, it being a 5 cost inkable, acceptable. 3/3, okay, that's all right. It can be smashed quite easily. It's questing for 2 lore, which is okay. I think the ability it has though will be the element which decides whether you win or lose a game. Because if you, for instance, this character is banished and then you draw into just cards we already know, Maleficent Dragon, for instance, or Mickey Mouse Evasive if you're doing Amber Red. Those cards could easily win you the game, especially if you are only on 5 ink at the time.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I'm gonna give this card. I don't think this card is very playable, in the sense that I think it kind of only works with a few cards that we already have in the set. So yes, you could play this card, and it's like you have the random element of if you do have a character or action on top of your deck. That's not a problem at all. And just that thing about you saying it's smashable, yeah, it's smashable, but it does have a good banish effect. So I don't feel like that's the problem with it. I think the problem with it is it kind of only works well. Like, it works in any deck, but for me it only works well with Amethyst, because you have Ursula's Cauldron, you have Reflections to be able to stack the top cards of your deck, and to be able to put a very good character there for you to play. And the problem is, like, for example, if, like you just described, playing it with red, right? In what the chances of you playing Mickey Mouse or Maleficent off of that card, off of this card being banished, is very small, because you don't really know what's going to be there. It is possible, don't get me wrong, but I just think for consistency it works well with purple, and I don't think there's anything too crazy that has like a great on play effect besides maybe Surface Stitch, and that's in amber. That works well with this card in terms of like playing it for free, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. I think
So
this combined with Reflection, the current set 1 card, would work quite well, as you mentioned.
oh yeah, Reflections deck is definitely a thing. Like, stacking your deck and then using the new Mulan and this card together, it sounds like a pretty fun, kind of goofy deck to try around. But I don't know how practical it's gonna, like, in terms of meta relevant. I don't know how well it will stand, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'll give this card, like, to be honest, I'll give this card like a 2.5. Like, I think it's quite. I think it's literally like middle of the road. I think until I test it, and like, if I start seeing like great immediate effects, but like for me, in my deck, and the way that, like, if, let's say I'm still going to run still Amber, right? I still rather have like a Cerberus in this slot, but just for its stat line, like this effect is not guaranteed to go off for me, so like that's why I would give it a 2.5. How about you?
Yeah, fair. And I completely agree with what you're saying. I think it is. I think it's a bit of fun, and I think for that I'll probably give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we'll move on to the next card. So next one is Snow White. So she's 6 cost uninkable. She is 3/5 notable titles is that she's a princess. She has 2 lore pips on the side. She has the ability to shift 4 on a Snow White, which we know there are some 2 cost ones in this set. And she has the ability Wishes Come True. Whenever this character quests, you may return a character from your discard to your hand. So first I want to hear your opinions, and then I'll kind of jump back in, and we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah. I'm loving the ability. It seems like it's a much better version of Hades, the set 1 version. So I think that, as we've seen with the loop, with Surface Stitch and Hades, those sort of things, I reckon we could quite easily see something else similar with this Snow White, and obviously a lower cost shiftable version.
So for me, like, I do think this card is good, and I think Hades is very good, for example. But like the thing with this card in Hades is like, realistically, if you're not shifting this character, right, it's probably going to get removed, and you're not going to be able to use its questing effect. Whereas if you shift then quest, then yeah, you will get the Hades effect off of it, basically, and it's like Hades questing but for 2, but you get a card like as well. So I can see it being good. My only worry is that the small Snow Whites are not very like big, and like unless you're kind of mixing this with blue, I feel like, so you can have the effects of the blue Cogsworth with resist on it. I just feel like your Snow Whites will get taken out before you get to do the shift, if you get what I mean. And then if you have to hard play this card, I just feel like it's asking to be removed as well, if you get what I'm trying to say there. And that's the difference, I think, between this and Hades, is that Hades, yeah, you get to like, you literally get to do its on play straight away. And this is on quest.
It's not inkable.
Exactly. And then also with this card, like with Hades, you can grab another Hades and then keep looping the Hades, right? I guess if you keep questing this, you can keep looping, but I like seriously doubt that you're going to be able to quest this like potentially more than once, unless you have Moana to restand it, for example.
Yeah, that's true.
In terms of what I'm gonna rank it, like I'm probably gonna give it like a 3.5. Honestly, don't think it's a bad card. I just think it might not be the right time for it, or it might just be like playing too much into removal, if that makes sense. But I like think it's fine. I honestly don't think it's. I'm gonna change it to like a 4. I think this is a good card. Like in a late game situation where your opponent's top decking or something like that. I mean, I think that's gonna happen less in this set because there's a bit more card draw. But like if they don't have the answer to remove this, you're just getting something back from your discard, and that's really good. So what would you rate this, Josh?
I think I'm going to go with your original rating of 3.5. I think it's better than Mufasa, definitely, but I as you said, there are limitations to it, and for me, I think there are better legendaries.
Yeah, 100%. On the legendary scale, like for sure. I think obviously Rapunzel is definitely a better legendary than both of these Ambers have been this set. So and Surface Stitch. Yeah, Rapunzel and Surface Stitch, in my opinion, is better than both these Amber legendaries. We'll move on to Amethyst and the Fairy Godmother. This card is actually crazy. So it's 5 cost inkable, 3/4, FloodBorn Mental Theory, and it has 2 lore pips on the side. Has the ability to shift for 2 on top of a Fairy Godmother, and it has the ability Forget the Coach. Here's a Sword. Whenever this character quests, your characters gain Challenger +3 and when this character is banished in a challenge, you get to return it back to your hand. So I think this card might even be, if not the best legendary of this set, one of the best legendaries of this set. I think it's literally inkable for Cilia for cheaper and gives challenges to everything. Like, what I actually think this card is so cracked. Personally, I'll move over to you. So, what's your initial sort of thoughts and opinions, Josh?
I do agree. I think it's a tad broken. The ability again is what it's really here for.
Yeah.
Not just being able to give everything +3 when challenging, but being able to return it straight to your hand if it is banished in a challenge, just for you to pop it out the next turn again.
Oh,
it does seem like this could be a very broken loop card.
Yeah, I think it's really strong. Like even like with Ruby Amethyst, right? Like, if you have enough ink, let's just say like we're in a hypothetical situation where we have a lot of ink, and you already have like this and an Aladdin out, you can like swing Aladdin over something, gain 2, make your opponent lose 2, and then like maybe restand it with like shield, swing it again, and then it comes back to hand, like for you to potentially use with like White Rabbit's Pocket Watch on the next turn, for example. So like, it's just crazy in my opinion. That's just one small example. I'm sure there's way like Rafiki, for example. You just infinitely loop Rafiki back to hand. It's just like kind of wild. I wonder if it in terms of how it works. Like, I wonder if it's like a blanket effect on the characters that you already have out on the board. But the way I read it is like a blanket effect, right? So I think it's actually really like strong in terms of what I'd rate it. I honestly would rate this card 5 out of 5. I actually think this is so cracked. This is like one of the legendaries. Yeah, you probably want to buy like 3 to 4 of this if you can, or get them while they're cheap or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you rate this card, Josh?
I would probably give it 4.5 out of 5.
Fair. We'll move on to the next one. So we have Madam Mim. Basically better Brave Little Tailor. 7 cost inkable, 5/7 Storyborn Villain Sorcerer Dragon, 4 lore pips on the side, evasive, and has the ability I win. When you play this character, banish her or return 2 chosen characters to your hand. So it does have this odd kind of play condition, similar to Surfer Stitch, in the sense that you actually need 2 characters out to do its effect. But the problem is, having 2 characters out is, in the late game, especially against control decks, is kind of hard to do sometimes. So in terms of if this is like, I think this is playable, but do I think it's extremely broken? No, I personally don't. I think it's probably just because of its conditional effect to play it, and you know that the deck could be like potentially running this, and you can play around it by removing other characters, for example. And I think you probably can get away with calling this as good as Brave Little Tailor, if not just a little bit better. But that's just kind of where I'm at on it. What about you, Josh?
I don't really know what to say about this card. I think the effect it has is quite strange, but I think that's because it works with other Sword in the Stone cards, where it's like when you play this character, banish or whatever. I think it's supposed to chain those sort of effects together with this Madame Mim. But I don't know. I'm not really a big purple player, so I can't really say in terms of the greater effects of it.
Yeah,
but of the two,
I think there's like effects.
Brave Little Tailor.
I think there's effects where you bounce the card back to hand, and then you gain memory, or you get to draw a card or something like that, and then
yeah.
But like, I just feel like you're like it's very like easy to play around that, if that makes sense. But that's just kind of where I'm at on it. Until I see the deck, like I might be completely wrong, so I'm gonna reflect that in my score. So until I see the deck in action, I'm only gonna give this like a 3 out of 5 personally. I don't know about where you're sitting on it.
I'm probably gonna give it a 2.
Okay, that's fair. We'll move on to the next color. So now we're on Emerald, which is probably one of the better colors of the set. So we have Beast. This Beast is 6 cost inkable, 4/5 Storyborn Hero Prince, 2 low pips on the side, and he has a very good ability called Second Wind. Whenever opposing characters damage, you may ready this character. So immediately when everyone saw this card, they were like, yeah, OTK deck, OTK deck. I do not think this can OTK like very consistently. Do not simply because there's not enough like cards that damage stuff. I play still like a lot, like even with the new songs and stuff, you like honestly I don't think you can OTK with this unless you have like God Hand. But is this a very good card? 1,000,000,000%. Even if you just damage something once and then restand him, and like literally if you just quest for 4, like that's actually kind of big in my opinion. And if you can do it, like if you can just quest for 6, like that's so strong. You can also use him to hit into characters and then restand himself as well. So potentially if Beast isn't taking a lot of damage, you could probably hit something twice, and hit, and then do you get what I mean? But I do think this card is very interesting, and I do think it's really strong. This is probably something I would recommend probably getting 4 of in the set as well. So Josh, where are you at on this card?
Well, green players are eating good this set, aren't they? You know how I feel about Beast from set 1, so I would definitely say this is a improved version.
Bro, it's not even comparable.
Yeah, this is...
It's like 100% better than Beast from chapter 1.
I love the Beast from chapter 1. Like that's my feelings. But yeah, definitely this Beast is easily one of the best legendaries I feel of this set. I'm gonna have to run 4 just because I'm a green player, and I think combining it with different colors, there's a number of different ways you can really utilize this card.
For sure. I think it's probably going to be best paired with Steel, simply because of how its effect works. Potentially it could work. Yeah. No, I think Steel is probably the best mix with it, to be honest. But yeah, I do think this is pretty good. I would give this card like a 4 out of 5. I don't think it's like quite... No, I actually 4.5. 4.5 is up there for me. I like it. I really do. I think it's good, that good. And I recommend getting 4 copies of it if you can. If you get the chance to buy this card for like anything under £25, I'll probably jump at it because I think it's going to be worth more than that. But yeah, Josh, where are you out in terms of scoring this card?
I'm going to give it a 4.9. I think if it was just ever so slightly stronger, it would have been a 5 out of 5. But I think where it sits now, it is definitely, for me, one of the best legendaries.
Cool, we'll move on to the next Emerald Legendary, which is Belle, Hidden Archer. So she's 5 cost, uninkable, she can shift for free. She is free in terms of health and damage. She has 3 low pips on the side. Ability, Thorny Arrows. Whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player must discard all cards in their hand. When people read this card, their minds literally melted. I remember people being so angry about this card. Number 1, it's in range of quite a decent amount of removal effects, so that's good. Number 2, you do not have to swing into this card. Of course, your opponent can give you Reckless, but I think besides Iago from set 1, I don't think there's anything that really gives Reckless that quickly. Even then, you can play around Reckless by making your character sing, for example. The other thing is I do not think this card is bad either. I think these 5 cost, really annoying to deal with Emerald cards are very good for the Emerald decks. Like this definitely, joins the ranks of Mad Hatter and Cusco. I think it's a good card, and I do think probably this might be worth kind of investing in. I'm kind of 50-50 on how much I think this card is going to be played just because it's just because of the uninkable part of it, but I get why it is because of its effect. In terms of scoring, I'm just going to go jump right straight into the score. Sorry. I'd probably give this like a 3 out of 5. I think, or 3.5 out of 5. I think it's good, but and it definitely is like a playable green card. I just don't know if it's like broken, if you get what I mean, or I don't know if you can run solid 4 copies of this in the deck. Yeah, it's shiftable on a bell, but like at the same time, I think like again, like with the smaller shift characters, they're so weak to like something like an early swords, or yeah, you can run this with, but then you like, when I say swords now, I feel like everyone's argument is going to be, oh, Cogsworth, but then you have to run it with blue, and I don't think blue is necessarily the worst or the best pairing for green technique at the moment, so I would probably give this a 3.5. Like, I think it's playable, and I think you probably maybe run like 2 copies of it to definitely like try it out, but I don't know if I'll definitely like run 4 in my deck, if you get what I mean. Just because I don't like many uninkables, I feel like. But if your kind of deck maxes out at the 5 cost range or like 6 cost range, which we kind of see Emerald kind of do now, then I don't think it's bad. So Josh, where are you kind of at with this card?
I remember when we did the first kind of set review of the revealings when they came out, and this is one of the earlier ones. I wasn't particularly amazed at it, purely because Smash gone. But it is a good card, there is no question about that, and it can be tricky to deal with. Not impossible by any means. If you've got the right cards, you can sort it out. But I think this, combined with characters which give your board ward, would work very well. Yeah, I think it's just a good card. I'll probably give it 3.5, maybe 4. Okay, let's just say 3.8, middle ground.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it as well. And again, like, until we see play, and we might be really wrong about them, but I mean, we played a lot of Chapter 1, so I think we kind of, our opinion is kind of worth like taking into account. But again, like a lot of people slept on Surface Stitch from Chapter 1, and this could be one of those cards that people are sleeping on. In terms, I mean, in terms of valuation, I don't think anyone's going to be sleeping on this. I think this will be an expensive card. For sure, but I'm just saying, like, I think I can see this card not being as used in the beginning and then slowly coming into the format a bit more depending on when people solve a deck for it, so I'll definitely keep my eye out for this card, sure. We'll move on to the Ruby legendary. So we have Donald Duck, 5 cost inkable, 1/5. He has evasive, which is really cool. And he has an effect called Fui. When this character gets +1 for each 1 damage on him. I think this card is good. I don't think it's like broken, but I think I can, like, for example, people play like 5 cost Goofy in their Ruby Amethyst deck, right? I can easily see this replacing 5 cost Goofy, like, because it has evasive as well, and then that sort of, like, because it has 5 health, it's not going to die immediately to like a Swords or Tinkerbell coming out, for example, and like that spread damage is probably going to hit it. I don't think many people are going to really like use evasives to swing into it, but maybe I might be wrong, they might do, but 5 health is still pretty big. And then you can quest for like a decent amount of lore. Like, I feel like this is quite a good late game threat. And also you can dinner bell this off once it's done, right? Like once you know this is gonna die, because it's on like, it has 4 damage on it, you can just dinner bell it off and like draw that many, so like that many cards back. So I think it's pretty good. I'm just gonna because I don't want this video to be too long, I'm just gonna jump straight into the score as well. I would score this actually like as a 4. I actually think this is a really good card, like, and I would probably, if I was a Ruby Amethyst player, I would probably look into getting like definitely like 2 to 3 copies minimum. I can see this maybe being a 4 of, but I'm not really entirely sure on that. But yeah, that's where I'm at on that. So yeah, Josh, do you have anything you want to say about it?
I just think it's a good card. I think, again, the combos you can do here, because if you can self-smash on Donald Duck, instantly you're going up to 3 lore. So there are a lot of possibilities you can do for this, and then just heal it straight back up again afterwards with a variety of different cards now.
I don't think
Definitely...
there's much healing outside of yellow and blue, to be fair. So I think if you were going to run it in it with steel, I just don't think, like, yeah, you could smash it and then it can quest for 5, but then like it's susceptible to being tapped, right? Unless you maybe if you run this Donald Duck with the mouse armor to give it resist once it's on, or like if you have bodyguards, then it could probably be okay. But I just feel like it's kind of too susceptible to being like tapped, like to just get like easily removed once it's at like a decent amount of damage has already been done to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. I'd probably give it 3.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Move on to Scar. So Scar is 7 cost, uninkable. Scar, vicious cheater. He's 6'5", has rush. He also has 2 lore pips on the side, and he has the funniest ability I think we've seen read so far. Daddy isn't here to save you. That is, I don't know why, I just think that's pretty funny. Like, imagine saying that to your opponent. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready this character, and he can't quest for the rest of the turn. Also, that effect is not once per turn, so if he is able to tap, like, if he's able to kill 3 characters back to back, he's just killing all of them. I can see why they gave this card legendary status, but like, and I can see it kind of being like a better Maui, right? But my problem is it's not inkable, and I think that can kind of be rough for the Ruby Amethyst decks because they don't have a lot of inkable cards in the first place, and they need to ink a lot in order to play this card, right? It doesn't have a shift, and I don't know if it replaces Maui, but I don't think it's a bad card to run either. So I can maybe see this taking like an Ursula spot in the Ruby Amethyst deck, just to have that extra control power, because Ursula's uninkable and is like the same cost, I believe. I think this card is like a 3 out of 5 for me. Like, I don't think you run 4 copies of it ever. I can definitely see running 2 though. Like, I can probably see myself, if I was a Ruby Amethyst player, like running 2. I think this is very much a control card, so I do think it would be run in like a Ruby Amethyst sort of style deck. But yeah, that's just where I'm at with it. What do you think, Josh?
I think its biggest flaw is that it's not inkable, especially considering it's not shiftable. Its ability is... It's good, don't get me wrong, but I personally would much rather run the shiftable Aladdin and get some lore in there, as opposed to just hitting the characters. I mean, for me, this is a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it takes the Aladdin spot, but I do think it can take like an Ursula spot, if you get what I mean. And they already run like kind of sort of 2 Ursulas or so in Ruby Amethyst decks usually, so it's kind of where I've given it a bit of a decent score. Yeah, I think it's like a 3.5. I actually think it's not bad. Moved on to Alice. Alice is a 3 cost inkable 1/4. She has 1 lore pip on the side, but she has an ability called Good Advice. Your characters gain support, and when this character has 10 like damage, she gets +4 pips on the side, so she can quest for 5, which is literally a quarter of your win condition. Obviously, this card reflects Belle. I think it's pretty much just like a version 2 of Belle. I think this card is very, very strong. I think it's kind of balanced as well. And, you know, like it being 1/4 is really good because it's out of range of being smashed or like swords. And then I think with things like I mean, Belle was typically run with steel, right? So you have like the 10 cost Goofy that would instantly fulfill this condition for her to be able to quest for 5. And with that combo, you're literally questing for 9, which is crazy. And obviously blue has a lot of ramp, and you can run a whole new world, just get a new hand to ink everything. So I actually do think this card is very strong. I would actually go as far as to give this card... I'd actually probably give this card a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is a 4 of card to get for the second chapter. And yeah, I just think it's really strong. Over to you, Josh.
I completely agree. I think it's definitely one of the best legendaries we've seen with such a low cost to it. As you mentioned, the Goofy Knight combo with this, basically your criteria for getting the 5 lore is there. I think this is a really good card, and I think for set 2 and blue, this is going to be highly, highly sought after. I'd give it the same score, 4.5.
Cool. We'll move on to the next one. We have Sisu, 4 cost, uninkable, 2/4. It has a dragon typing, which is important to say because there are cards that now banish dragons specifically. It has 2 lore pips on the side and the ability I Trust You. Whenever this character quests, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put 1 into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Essentially, every time this character quests, it's Ursula's Cauldron, but you get to take it to your hand. This card, I would literally go as far as to say, is a 5 out of 5 card. I think this is run as a 4 of. I think this is incredibly strong. It has 4 health. Not only is it like a little bit tanky in that regard, but also you could pair it easily with a bodyguard, for example, or with ward, the ward Aurora that's in the same color as it, and you have the ability to now body, like if you run it with steel, for example, you have the ability to bodyguard it with a big like blocker. Basically, you have the ability to give it resist, give it ward, and just constantly just draw 1 card, and that's disgusting. And you get to pick which 1 card out of the 2. That's why I say this card's a 5 out of 5. I think you need 4 copies of this card. If you're collecting or if you're trying to build these types of decks, I would probably get 4 just for testing, and then potentially this card could even just come out of nowhere in the future as well. So where you're at, where are you at on this card, Josh?
I think I agree with everything you said. I think for anyone who doesn't play blue, this is going to be a bit of a difficult card to deal with purely because of its effects. And it's low cost, it can get out early, it's questing for 2, it's somewhat tanky, and it's out of the range of a smash, crappy swords, etc. So I think, yeah, this is definitely a solid blue card.
Even
arguably, again, one of the best of the set.
Even in like so like let's just talk about other blue decks as well. So like blue is often paired with amber, like so you have the sapphire amber mid-range deck, right? And like amber, you have 0 to hero. So if you have 2 cards out, so turn 1 play 1 cost, turn 2 play 2 cost, 2 cost sings 0 to hero, you can just play this card like on turn 3. So you have it like a turn earlier, and it's going to be quite hard for your opponent, especially if you played Simba turn 2. To be able to deal with this card immediately, and you're just going to gain a lot of hand advantage like really fast. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I really like this card. I think it's like very good. 5 out of 5 for me. So we move on to the last color of the set, which is steel. So we start off with Beast. Beast is a 5 cost inkable, 3/5. He has FloodBorn Hero Prince, 2 lore pips on the side. He has the ability to shift for free on another beast, and then he has a good ability called It's Better This Way. At the start of your turn, if this character has no damage on him, draw a card. Otherwise, he gets +4 for the turn. So it's either you get to draw a card and he's a 3/5, or if he has damage on him, then he is 7/5, or whatever, with minus whatever damage he has on him. I think this card is honestly just a straight up Cerberus replacement. I think it's very, very strong. I don't know why he's so upset in the picture. Sorry, it's just kind of funny. But also, I don't know why we also have 3 legendary beasts. We have more legendary beasts than we have sets, which is kind of weird as well. I just think he's really strong. I just think it's generically a good card. Like I don't really have anything bad to say, especially because you typically pair Still up with Amber, right? So you either Rapunzel heal him back, and then you get your draws off Rapunzel, and then at the start of your turn you potentially get a draw for Beast, which is like an insane combo. Potentially that's a draw 4 combo, or he's just 7/5. Like this is a good 5 cost. I think this is probably gonna be a card that I would attempt to get 4 cards of, but I think if you run like 2 copies, because like Cerberus kind of is run at 2 of in like most decks, I think that's fine as well. But like, yeah, 2 to 4 copies I'd get this card, and in terms of scoring it, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. Not quite 4.5 or like up there with the 5s, but I definitely think it's a like generically decent card. So yeah, I'll move over to you, Josh. You got anything to say about this?
Yeah, it's a good card, don't get me wrong. I do prefer the green beast, however, but that's just me. I do think its ability is really good. There is no getting around that, and depending on the board state, starting off with this character, you can really change how the game is going. It's just a strong card, and the fact that it's 5 costs, you probably wouldn't even need to shift it half the time. You can just play it out straight away for 5, and it's not really doing anything bad for your deck. I'd probably give it 3.8.
Just one thing I want to quickly say as well is like this pairs quite well with the green beast too. So obviously we're seeing a lot of synergy between Steel and Emerald, and so for example, you could probably like, let's just say a quick combo. You quest your beast, the green legendary beast, use fire the cannons to restand him on like one of your opponent's characters, swing him into an opponent's character, he restands again, then you can shift this beast for free on top of him, and then potentially just take out almost anything in the game. So there are like good synergies with this and the green beast as well, in my opinion. I think this is like to kind of Hail Mary off your green beast once it's taken like some damage, or because I don't really see it shifting on any other beast. Potentially the beast that breaks an item, but again that costs 5 as well. So, and so that's just kind of where I'm at with it. But yeah, I think it's a good card. And then our last card of the set. When Josh showed me this card, I immediately responded with, this gives Gantu energy, in the sense that I think this might be the worst legendary of the set. It is 4 cost, uninkable, 2/4, it has bodyguard, it has 1 more pip on the side, and it has the ability Blades. With this character can challenge ready characters. So being able to challenge ready characters is a new skill that we've seen Still get this set. So we have Namari who can do that. We also have Cinderella, the shiftable one, and we also have the Wreck-It Ralph action card that allows you to do that as well. Personally, I can see this card being okay in a princess deck, because she is a princess, so you'd be able to quest or swing at a ready character, then restand it with Moana, and then swing at a ready character again, and then you're doing 4 damage to it. My only problem is she doesn't have that much damage on her, and I know there is princess support with the Duke who buffs your princess's damage all turns, but I still just don't think that's enough, and I think this card is like kind of mid. Like I just think it's not very good. In terms of where I would score it, I'd probably give this like a 2 out of 5. Honestly, I think it's like in my opinion the worst. And I play a lot. I want Still legendaries to be good, because I'm a like very avid still player also, and I just think this is pretty bad. Like, I would not touch this card, probably. Over to you, Josh. What do you have to say about it?
When I first saw it revealed, I was quite excited about it. I think that was mainly because of its Blade's ability, challenging many characters. Having had some time to actually think about the card and review it, it's just not that great. I think, as you mentioned, if it had more strength or even higher, well, no, if it just had more strength, it would be a lot more worthwhile. If it quested for 2, again, it'd be a lot more worthwhile. It's just, it's not inkable. It costs 4, which is already kind of pushing it considering the rest of its stats. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's the best card. I probably wouldn't run it
I'm just
in my
thinking,
skill
like,
deck.
another circumstance I can see this being okay in is like the Bell Ramp deck. If you play Scepter of Arendelle, then you potentially give support to this and then attack. Or if you have the new legendary Alice, you can give support to one of your other characters and put the damage onto her and then swing over. But I still think that's kind of like asking a lot, right? So, and then also that means overall as a card, she's quite limited to what she can be played with, similar to the Mufasa card we saw. So, yeah, no, I'm probably sitting at like a 2.5 for this, or 2. I think I'll have to see how this is used. Potentially, again, I might be super duper wrong, but I definitely would not pay over £25 for this. I would not pay anything near that for this card.
No, this is Gantu price, I think, of the set.
Yeah, I think this is the Gantu of the set, for sure. Okay guys, well, so that's all the legendaries covered for this set. Sorry that the video is quite long, but we wanted to give you an in-depth analysis so you can make your own opinions as well. And I feel like Lorcana's prices is pricing, you know, a bunch of people out of the game, so I feel like videos like this are probably super helpful for kind of deciding what type of stuff you want to invest in, or what 2 to 3 colors you might want to invest in. In terms of power, I think blue, green and purple have the better legendaries, and then amber, ruby and like steel are kind of like the lower ones, but I think each one has like a decent legendary. Probably it's between amber and steel that probably have the worst of ones, to be fair. But yeah, I think this is a decent set. I just think this game is going to play a lot differently than it will do in set 1, so just watch out for that as well, and just keep an eye on prices and kind of just try to get things for a good price and not be ripped off. Hopefully you guys can trade it into things that you want to get as well, so don't forget you can trade with people too. And yeah, thank you for watching. Josh, do you have anything kind of final to wrap up on? Or?
I think this is going to be a fun set, and I'm looking forward to getting the cards. I'm looking forward to see what players do to develop the game, and yeah, again, should be a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you again soon, and peace out. Bye.